Welcome students. In this class we will study about the code block for the C program. So when I mean code block, the understanding is that how exactly we write the C program. Now this is very important. Now why is this very important? Now, just as in languages that we use to communicate with people, there is something called as the structure of the language. You all would have known that. And that is very important if we are going to be communicating with someone in an effective manner, right? So that structure is followed even when you are writing sentences. Suppose if I were to request somebody for some assistance, I will start off like this. Dear sir or madam, would it be possible for you to help me in this regard? Any further help is much appreciated. Okay, thank you. Yours. And then you sign your name, right? So you can either say yours sincerely or yours faithfully, and then you can complete it with your signature. Now, this is the structure for making a request to an individual, right? So in fact, you can just simply start off by saying greetings, and then you can start by say, what do you want to say? Would it be possible for you to help me in this regard? Any further help is much appreciated. So this is a simple requisition for help, and there is a certain structure in this requisition pattern that I have presented here. Now, similarly, in case of C language, you have what is called as a structure, which we call it as code block. So what we do, we start by this keyword, include, and then within these angle parentheses, we include what is called as header files. Now, what does these header files do? Now, the purpose of these header files is to include, right, libraries. Okay. Now, why do we need libraries? Libraries, they carry a set of built-in functions. Say you want to find the square root. Okay, square root of 84 in a small mathematical program. Now, this square root is actually a function in math. And of course, in mathematics, if you have to find the square root of 84, then you will have to do a set of process, which is very difficult if you are not in other words, if you're not well versed in doing those processes. In fact, if it is 84, the process is a little bit tedious. Imagine if it is 814 or 8114 or 81124. So these are all huge numbers. So to minimize that tedious process and to help us is built in C program. And if we were to use this, all we need to do is simply include that particular header file into our program. So now you will know why header files are very important. Now, as you progress in this particular class, I will give you illustrations and examples that will make understanding lucid and easy. Okay, having said that, this is the first line, and C has got many header files to do various operations, so have that in mind. Now, after this, there is something called as int main. This is actually a lowercase letter. Now, what does the meaning of the word or the keyword main means? It means it is a container that contains a set of instructions that you would want the program or the computer to carry out. Okay, when I say computer, it means the C language. Okay, those instructions are actually placed in this container called main. Now, every container, after execution, they will return a value. Okay, remember this, every container after successful execution of the program will return a value. Now, there is one more thing you will have to know. All these instructions are placed as line 1, line 2, line 3, etc. And every line has to be terminated with a semicolon. And after you have completed all of these instructions, you will have to return. In this case, I have used this type int, so we will be returning 0. And make sure this is case sensitive and it is lowercase. Now, the much important question, what do these lines consist of? Line 1, I've simply placed your line 1, line 2, line 3. Now, what can these be? Well, an illustration, or I would say some of these instructions can include declaration statements. Okay, you will see what it means by declaration statements. These lines can also include decision control statements. They can also consist of for loops or while loop. We don't use capitals, so I need to just for the sake of illustration purposes, if you see any caps, just ignore it. So it's just an example I'm giving you here. And it can be a call to other functions. And we will also include some or many special keywords that would also go into this block. So just to sum up, a code block for C program always begins with a set of libraries which we need to use for successful execution of the program. We start with the container main. This main should always be there. Every instruction is given as line 1, line 2, line 3, etc. And finally, we complete it with a return 0. Now, every instruction has to be terminated with a semicolon, and that tells the compiler that the instruction is completed. Now, these lines that I have indicated to you all can consist of declaration statements, decision control statements. It can be a while loop or a for loop. It can also be a call to other functions and special keywords. So that is all about the instructions that will go into the block. So we will do some examples to make understanding better.